action figure fans, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 522 of the deluxe version of Captain Marvel from Marvel's Captain Marvel. For the package, if I'm not mistaken, it is a little bit different looking than that regular release, at least in terms of the art on it. But what's really nice is it's got this kind of reflective, sort of holographic foil effect to it, which does look really cool and nicely captures that power that Captain Marvel had in the film. Come around to the side and you have that foil image along with a continuation of the front cover where you can see her hand right there. The opposite side has that same sort of thing carrying over. You got the Captain Marvel logo right in the bottom. Come around to the back of the package, and again, that sort of foil effect is carried over here, which does look really very sharp. And of course, you got the various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. As usual, it is a slip sleeve style cover. That when you lift it up, you see the cast and crew responsible for making the figure. Got a whole bunch of other weird little diagrams kind of going around, and then you spin it around to the front. And of course, you have the open window that fully showcases the figure as well as all of her accessories. It's always nice when you get the option of a regular release or a deluxe one. The deluxe one obviously just means that you get more accessories. In this case, accessories that really nicely expand on your ability to display her in different sort of looks. But for the packaging on her, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Captain Marvel. Wait, no, that's not right. There we go, that's better. Here we have her opened up and out of her packaging. And as always, first and foremost, you do get the instruction sheet with her. Not too terribly much in it. It does show you how to swap out the different accessories, how to put the batteries in. For this particular case, we do have the extra bonus accessories as part of the deluxe set, so you get instructions with how to attach those and such. How that the suit is not removable, and you also can't remove her mouth, which, I don't know, was that a thing? Did people think that you were going to be able to take her mouth off and swap it around or something? And also specifically that the sculpted hair, yes, she has sculpted hair, is actually fairly sharp, and to be careful, because moving it around could damage the costume, specifically this leather jacket that she comes with, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. But coming down to take a look at the rest of her accessories, she actually comes with a fairly decent amount. Granted, again, this is the deluxe version, so she comes with more. But taking a look at the ones that are standard with her, in addition to the two fairly relaxed hands that are on there, you do get a pair of fisted hands. As you can see, they got that great detail with the glove that comes down to just the knuckles, so I don't know what those are called, but you got like knuckle gloves. Got great paint detail here on the back with the gold, which matches the rest of the suit. Really fun there. She also does come with a pair of energized fists. They are the exact same sculpt from what I can see, but they look like Jolly Ranchers. Honestly, you can see that you got this really nice gradient paint detail where you got yellow towards the base and then towards the fingers it gets to be this purple. But it is a translucent piece, which absolutely is terrific and works wonderfully with her arm light up gimmick. That looks really very, very sharp. You can also use this in conjunction with the other bracelets that she comes with. You can see that they are a little bit translucent as well, which do look considerably different than the ones that are on there. I mean, that's just a solid color. These have that nice sort of see-through element, which it doesn't really allow for light to bleed through because the peg is where the light is, and I'll show that off. But the lighter color here does give it a look like it's illuminated, which is really very nice. You also do get a couple extra just random hands. You get a right hand that is in a clinching sort of grabby sort of pose. You get a left hand that is like her stopping. I don't know, because it's also kind of on an angle, so I don't know what she's going to be doing like that. Flying? I don't even know what you could do with that, but hey, you could do something with it. And then this one's fun. It's literally an Inspector Gadget replica hand phone, because, you know, Inspector Gadget, he went pull that out, and then you can use this, and you're like, hello, are you there? Hello, anyone there? Hello? No, okay, so That's not what this is. If you got the Inspector Gadget reference, you're awesome. But that's just like, you know, like a hang loose sort of thing. It's a surfer kind of gesture, I guess. So you do get that, so you get some nice hands. All of those, again, are standard with the regular release as well as the deluxe one. You also do get a couple energy effects. These look really nice. Depending on how you wanted to do this, you can put this on there, you can put this right up there. I mean, you can mix and match and kind of create really whatever look you want. So you can do something like that. You can put the hand in there, and that would actually look really pretty cool, I think. And then obviously you would put that on there, you would swap that out, and I'll show how to do all that here in a little bit. But you get a right and left one that's done up in that bluish translucent plastic. It's a little bit softer of a material, but looks really cool. Great sculpted detail in there as well. You can see a lot of nice texture detail throughout, kind of giving it a lightning-y sort of appearance. That's really sharp. You also do get a pair of blast hands. Now you can see on the inside here, they have these hands molded in there, I'm assuming, or at least a peg section on the inside there. So what you would do is you would pull the hand out there, and then you would plug that in there, and then again, that allows this to kind of illuminate. And it actually looks really good. Again, I'll show that off here in a bit, but great paint detail in here. You got some variations in the paint with the yellow, but then also a really nice silver on the tips of it, and kind of washed throughout the other little flame areas, giving it a very, very electrifying look. You get a right and left one. They look like, yeah, they're the same sculpt. Yeah, they look like the exact same sculpt. I don't know if they just got different hands in there or what, but either way, you can put these on either hand and you can have that blast sort of effect. Again, you can use that in conjunction with this, where you would put that on there just to kind of further that sort of look. I don't know really if you could, I guess you could do this if you really wanted. I mean, it would look odd. You could put that in there. I mean, that's not terrible. I mean, that kind of blends in pretty decently, I think. Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. Again, different display options. Options are never bad. So you do have those pieces, which is great. Now you can also see that she does come with two different portraits. She's got one here. We'll take a closer look at both of them, but just a regular one. No helmet or anything of that nature. It's just her with her hair. And then you do get this extra one, which replicates the helmeted look for her. Great detail on this as well. Now this is where they were talking about, I guess you can't remove the mouth. I guess maybe they were thinking that Captain America's mouth could be removed, so maybe they could do it on here, but you can't do that with this. But absolutely gorgeous detail. Again, they do an amazing job with the paint detail to really make something that's plastic look like it's metal. They are the masters at that. You can see you got her hair coming out. It's in the mohawk sort of look. I do wish it was a little bit more blonde. I mean, it's there, but it kind of looks like it's wet, to be honest. So it's not bad. I just wish it was a little bit lighter. Now you do have this as well. You can actually take this piece out. You can put this in there, and now you have that kind of energy effect coming out of her hair, which again looks really cool. And you can see that the translucence really does pick up light very nicely. Here in my light area, you can see that it bleeds through fairly decently. Even when the lights are off, it looks good. Now, I was talking about the light up features. This does have one as well. You have to slide this piece out. You got a little light switch right here with very bright LED lights. I mean, that is insanely bright to the point where you can, that's kind of crazy. You can see how nicely her eyes light up. And then putting this in there, you can see that that even makes that look pretty good. Bring the lights down. I mean, you can see just how nicely that lights up. Those are absolutely bright. Now I'm going to slowly take this out so that you can kind of see that again. I mean, that really is very, very bright. So again, with the lights on, well, it's going to be very hard to do, but you can see like no lights. You put that in there and boom, that lights up absolutely beautifully. And there's not a lot of, I'm looking through here. I don't see any bleed from any of the other lines or anything like that. That just is wonderfully done. And you can see that even though that the light kind of blasts up through there, it makes the rest of it kind of light up pretty decently as well. So, I mean, even with my lights on, I mean, you take that out, I mean, you can see how bright that gets. Just taking that out and then sliding that in. I mean, even with my studio lights on, that is tremendously bright lightage. I'm very impressed with how that turned out. Granted, the batteries will not stay like that for any length of time because hot toy batteries suck, but that's still pretty cool. Now, to pop that onto her other head, we're going to take a closer look at her regular portrait here in a bit, but all you do, come around here, take this, grab hold of it, pull it off, and then you plug that in right there. So now you have another look for her if you want to change things up a little bit. Honestly, I kind of like this one a little bit more than this. I love that light up feature, but to be honest, I think my ultimate display for her is going to include some of the extra accessories. So I don't know if I want to have this on there. I think it works better with her unhelmeted head. But then again, you just pop this off, pull that whole thing off like that, put that there, and now you're kind of just a regular looking Carol Danvers. But absolutely gorgeous on this. And that's it for her. Well, I shouldn't say that's it. So the other accessories that she comes with in both versions would be the display base and pillar. You can see Captain Marvel got a fairly nice gloss on there. It's very much like that Age of Ultron base that we got where it's in this shape. I still don't like that. Just looks cheap in my opinion. I wish they would go back to the little metal piece on there, but it's interesting that, you know, it's Captain Marvel and has her listed as Carol Danvers and not Captain Marvel. So I guess this is a hot toy of Carol Danvers from the Captain Marvel movie. I don't know. But you have a flexible pillar, which works really nicely for any kind of flight poses that you might want to do. Now, all of this other stuff over here are the extra accessories that you get with the deluxe one. And why I wanted to get it was because primarily of Goose the cat. Now, coming in to take a closer look at Goose, I'm actually pretty impressed with what they did with this. Now, I have seen some people complain that it doesn't really look like a cat. I don't know what they're talking about. I think this looks amazing. It definitely looks like a cat. Granted, the hair is sculpted and doesn't have whiskers. But a 1/6 scale version of this having whiskers, that would be really hard to do. So I'm okay with it. And honestly, whiskers are usually hard to see in general. So a 1/6 scale, if you're putting that off in the background, you're probably not going to see the whiskers anyhow. But gorgeous detail. You can see that they have Goose printed right there on the name tag. Beautiful, beautiful sculpt on there. I like the paint variation with the tail and everything. That's definitely something that an Orange Tabby has. You can even see it with the legs as well. The best part, I know it's going to sound really weird. There's no articulation in it or anything, but the best part, I love those eyes too. It's a little flirkin, is this. They actually sculpted little pads for the cat underneath there. I mean, that's incredible. The slightly pinkish in color. I mean, absolutely amazing with this. But this was one of the pieces that I really knew that I got to get the deluxe version because you gotta have Goose the cat here. Especially since I'm probably gonna display Goose with Nick Fury, just because. Now, she also does come with some extra light up bits. I do have a problem with these. These are gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. They have that little ball thing, the little fist thing sculpted in there as well. So you're going to be able to attach it. The problem is these are actually fairly heavy. I was very, very surprised. So showing all this, you're going to pull this off. And here's that light up peg that I was telling you about. We're going to take this. I don't really think it matters which one, but you put that in there. And if you're going to do it, that's what the problem is. So that's a cool look. I love that in terms of the blast sort of effect, but that's the problem that I have with it. It's so heavy, it pulls the whole thing down. So I don't know how you're going to be able to actually display her with this. That's really very unfortunate. It is a really cool looking accessory. I guess maybe you could do it like if she's flying, use this as a blast to kind of look like she's flying, but the promotional images show her blasting these out at people. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Here, we're gonna swap some parts out here so that you can see the full effect of everything. Now I'm gonna put the little bracers on. Let's turn these little lights on. You can see that gets really bright as well, but it comes up here, so it doesn't. Oh, and it also kind of turns it off when you do that. So like I said, it doesn't really bleed up there, so kind of defeats the purpose. But I guess, like I said, I mean, I guess you could kind of, yeah, that's kind of cool, like a little flying sort of thing. But let's take a look. This one, I mean, this piece here lights up pretty decently. The middle section obviously does. I don't know how well, but the rest of it doesn't really show up all that well. So that's something to be aware of. But you can also take, I'm going to pop that off. Let's bring in one of her fists that have the little effect. That looks really cool though. I love how that looks. The silver really kind of picks up as well, and definitely gives you, coming in a little closer here, you can see you got the yellow going around with the blue. I mean, that really does look nice. I guess you can also, like I was talking about, let's take this off. Let's see if I can put that up. Yeah, that's gonna look pretty cool. There we go. That looks really nice. I like how that looks with that energy going up her entire arm. That looks really sharp. I'm happy with that. And then again, I guess it's a matter of personal preference, I suppose, but I just don't think this is all that good. But I mean, I guess it does kind of look good if you're going to have her like flying around. I guess you could do that. But the promotional images and everything show her using that as some kind of a blast. This just looks cool though. I love how that turned out. I don't know if that's what they intended for it, but that does look really nice. Taking this off, putting in the little glowy fist. Get that on there. Yeah, and that looks nice too, with the way that lights up. I mean, really nice. Okay. Getting dropping the light so that you can see that. This is already, it already looks like it's sort of getting a little bit more dim than this one. I mean, that is really, I dig that so much. Very bright LED lights, it seems. But in general, I love the options. That's really fun. I like that. And by having all these extra bits, you can really, let's see, this is the right one. Now that's her left arm. So you can really kind of mix and match and create a cool look for her, which, I mean, however you felt about the character, one thing I'm noticing, I posted a poll on my Twitter, and more often than not, people enjoyed her. It's not a huge runaway poll by any stretch, but people viewed the Captain Marvel movie as average to above average. And that's how I feel as well. I felt like it was an average film. It wasn't anything to do with Brie Larson, although I felt like anybody could have played Captain Marvel. So I didn't think that she was a standout in that role, but I did enjoy the movie just in general. Now, the last accessory that you get is also what I think I'm going to use for the display. I'm trying to look at this. This kind of looks like it almost looks like it's on the wrong leg, doesn't it? Almost looks like this should be on that leg. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Is this is what I'm probably going to use for the display. This is her flight jacket. And I really like how this looks. This is really well done. Now, the problem, though, with Hot Toys is they are notoriously bad at replicating leather. Almost all the time, it ends up flaking and falling apart. So that's unfortunate. If you don't want to do this, just keep this folded up, keep this in the box, although there's no guarantee that will keep it safe. But to put that on, coming back here, angling up, first what they tell you to do is take her head off. So let's take her head off. Take her hands and the bracers off. Do that on both sides, just like so. Then bend her arms back. Maybe kind of twist them a little bit so it's like putting on a real jacket. And then you just feed the arms through the jacket sleeves themselves. And then just bring this up and just kind of manipulate it around to get it to be as natural looking on the figure as possible. There we go, just kind of futz with it a little. Go ahead and put the head back on. Make sure that you get the little collar underneath the hair, because again, you don't want it rubbing or anything. So just kind of put that there. And then you're going to take the hands, and without putting the bracers on, pop the hands back on like so. And this is probably gonna be my look for her. I like it. I think that looks really cool. I'm going to have to futz with that a little bit more to kind of get that looking less bulky right up there. But I love the way that this looks. I think that is a very cool look for her. It definitely homages the character very nicely, and that's, like I said, a extra accessory in the deluxe set that you don't get. So between Goose and the jacket, I think that the deluxe version is the way to go. Granted, like these, I think are mostly just good if you wanted to have her do a flight pose or something like that. So, I mean, these aren't bad, but extra accessories are always great. And she comes with a lot. So whatever version you get, you do get a lot still. I just do recommend getting the most, like with the deluxe version. Now, coming in to take a closer look at the figure herself, this absolutely looks terrific. A lot of times Hot Toys will give us rooted hair for female characters. For whatever reason, they don't like doing sculpted hair, but they went that route with this, and I think it looks fantastic. The only issue that I would have would be the coloring. It's more of a gold, sort of yellow. I mean, you can totally see that it's blonde, but like I mentioned earlier, kind of looks like wet blonde hair. It's not bad, but I feel like it could have been done a little bit better, at least in terms of the paint job. Portrait-wise, looks fantastic. That really does, to me, look like Brie Larson. I like the stern look that she has in her face, too. That's really nice. Taking a look at the rest of the costume, gorgeous detail. You got that star logo right there. The red has a very nice metallic look, so does the gold. Even the blue has a very nice shine to it. All the way around, really nice detail. And the little pinstriping here looks absolutely gorgeous. You can see some nice sculpted in detail here. That carries down here with the back of the belt all the way down her backside. And then you take a look at the front, and again, a lot of really nice painted in line work. They did a terrific job with this. And then you look down the thighs and everything look good. You got some nice molded in detail here with this piece it feels like it's just glued on there. And then you take a look at the boots. Now, this is what I was talking about. It kind of feels like this boot, I guess they're okay. I mean, when you look at it, it almost looks like it's meant to be on the other side, but I did swap it out, and there is a slight curve to this that does fit on this leg. It doesn't fit on this one, so that's right. It just kind of looks strange, I think. I mean, that side doesn't have it nearly as pronounced as that side, so it is what it is. But again, great painted detail on there. The boots look really good. Overall, the entire appearance of the figure is really sharp. Problem, though, is that it's not as functional as I would like it to be. Articulation-wise, she does suffer. The head here only gets about that much of a range of motion. The sculpted hair does limit it, and I don't want to force it over the material here. So you get a up and down, you get the side to side, you get a little bit more range of motion, obviously, with this head sculpt because you don't have the hair to worry about. So that's something to keep in mind. But then the suit does limit other aspects. For the shoulders here, you can get them out to about there. You don't want to overdo it, obviously. And then they do move forward and back about 90 degrees. There is a good stretch in that material. However, again, Hot Toys uses these weird materials. It almost feels like it's vinyl. And when you bend the figure, you can see that it does stretch it out a little bit. And then you get that bunching, which that does get ugly. So I'm not a big fan of how they ultimately do that. There is a bit of a butterfly joint, I feel like. You do have the rotation at the upper part of the bicep. You do have two bends at the elbow, but again, it bunches up and then it makes it nice and smooth here. But then when you put it back, you get that, which, again, ugly. So you kind of have to warm that up to get that stretch back there. And I don't like doing it where it looks like it could get pinched underneath some of those joints. So just be careful when you're moving this around. Waist, it does feel like there's a slight rotation there, but it's not gonna, I mean, it'll slightly hold the pose. Like that's a 2-degree range of motion. I have no idea. It doesn't feel like there's any ab crunch or anything. This is like a hard piece, which is interesting because I would have expected that maybe they would do something like that if there was going to be more of a light up thing, but this is just, I don't know, it's weird. The legs here move about that far. Again, you don't really want to overdo it. It goes back a little, goes in and out a little. You have a slight rotation, and then you do have 2 bends here at the knee. But again, when you bend the knee, you get the bunching. So fix that up. Now, all of that would have been a little bit more forgiving if you could get a little bit more of a wide pose for her, but you really can't because the ankles are stuck like this. So she stands, which is perfectly fine, but all it does is really rotate. She does have a giant ball joint here, but let me move this out. So you can see you got this like extension piece right here. The problem though is this boot piece goes way up there, so you can't actually utilize that ball joint and bend it because it goes up along that post. So articulation is limited because of the suit. So really, you're not going to get a lot of poses with her, which for me is okay because I am a kind of museum pose sort of person. It's not terrible, really, but it is unfortunate. And I do not like overdoing any of the suits that are made out of this material because it will damage it over time. It's a lot like almost every Spider-Man figure. So keep that in mind if you decide to pick this up. You're mostly just going to be having her stand there. But despite its limitations, and in my opinion, a fairly lackluster movie, this is still a great piece. I do recommend paying the little bit extra to get the deluxe version than that standard release. I just think that the value is better. And this does look kind of cool. Setting this up though, one thing that I do wish that they did a little bit differently was give a little bit longer of a flight stand. And despite the fact that you can't get a lot of poses with the suit, something like this doesn't put too much stress on the material around her shoulders, so I would feel fairly comfortable leaving her in a pose like this for an extended period of time. Looking at it though, this is definitely one of those instances where I do wish that they did better with the ankle articulation because just having them like that does kind of look weird. I would prefer to be able to bend those feet just a little. All in all though, a really good release. Now, as soon as this one came out, at least overseas, we almost immediately got a pre-order announcement for how she appeared in Endgame. So now you kind of have to decide, do you want this or do you want that Endgame suit? That Endgame one is a little bit more classic looking, specifically with the coloring. This has a lot more blue, the other one has a lot more red, and then the other one has that sash, which she kind of classically wore. The other thing is she has a completely new look when the helmet's not on, that being a very short haircut. So, again, it's personal preference, I guess. Ultimately, I tend to go with what is the most updated look for a character, so I'll probably pick that one up. But that one's still a ways from being released. So I'm happy having her in my collection because this is what is going on with that head? This is what I had all this time, and this is not a bad figure. I mean, this is the Disney Store exclusive. The only thing that really sucks is that totally looks like a doll, whereas that looks like Brie Larson. But if I could pop that head off, I might be able to put that on there. I don't know. I mean, the heads are about the same. That's a little bit smaller, so I don't know. Maybe I could do something like that. Who knows? But all that being said, if this is a version that you would like to add to your collection, or if you want to pre-order that Endgame version, I'll put links right down in the video description where you can go to Big Bad Toy Store and either pick this one up or pre-order that new one. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would do one very small thing for me. And that's simply just to hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Also, I want to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.